Mirë se erdhët në Diaspora Reality Show. Sot do të zhvilloj një intervistë ekskluzive, profesionale dhe juridike me një avokat të njohur nga zyra juridike SWM Solicitors, zoti Mahtab Azizi, me të cilin do të diskutojmë për të gjitha ndryshimet e fundit në legjislacionin britanik për sa i përket ligjeve të emigrantëve. Do të flasim gjithashtu edhe për propozimin e Home Office për kthimet vullnetare, ku Home Office ka propozuar një shumë prej 40.000 poundësh për familje dhe 10.000 pound për person, në mënyrë që të kthehen vullnetarisht në vendin e origjines. Gjithashtu dua të theksoj se SWM Solicitors është një zyrë shumë e besueshme që ofron një gamë të gjerë shërbimesh juridike, civile, ligjore, familjare dhe për çështje të ndryshme biznesi në Mbretërinë e Bashkuar dhe një zyrë e besueshme juridike edhe për diasporën shqiptare. Welcome to Diaspora Reality Show. Today we are speaking with a UK immigration solicitor, Mr. Mahtab Azizi, about the 2026 immigration changes, citizenship refusals, and the £40,000 voluntary return scheme, and what all this means for Albanian families split between the UK and Albania. Mr. Azizi, welcome to my channel, Diaspora Reality Show.
Thank you very much, Linda. A pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you, thank you. Since the UK electronic travel authorization became mandatory in January 2026, how is it stopping Albanian families from visiting or joining relatives in the UK?
Right, well, it actually came into force from the 25th of February, and the distinction is that the ETA actually applies to those countries which, in fact, are able to come to the UK on what we call short visits. So that means they have to be from a certain country to come to the UK without actually applying for a visa. They could just come in because of the virtue of the fact of the country they're coming from. Now, at the moment, Albania itself is actually not in that list to which the ETA applies. The ETA applies to, say, France or Germany or Italy, those sort of countries. But obviously, there are many Albanian people that have dual nationalities. They may have Albanian and Italian, or Albanian and Germans, and because of that, they can actually use the ETA for the purpose of coming for short visits. So the requirement is that this ETA must be completed before you arrive in the UK. And what happens is that actually, if you're flying here, is the airline has been given a duty, a responsibility to check whether a person actually has the ETA in order for them to come to the UK. And if they haven't, and the airline allows them to still come, the airline will be subject to a big fine. It could be up to about £10,000 fine. So the airline has to check whether a person has actually applied for and paid for the ETA. The fee is currently £16, but that actually is going to change to £20 from the April the 8th, actually, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to ask another question about electronic travel authorization. What happens to people already in the UK without ETA?
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, the ETA is designed to actually facilitate travel. So that means if you're after the 25th of February, if you're coming into the UK, it's a requirement. But if you are already in the UK for whatever reason, you may have a visa already, or you may have some other purpose as a worker or something. In those sort of circumstances, you don't have to apply for the ETA. But what you must do is if you go out, say you go back to Albania, and then when you come back, you have to apply for the ETA before you actually enter the UK.
Okay, thank you very much. For Albanian families split between the UK and Albania, is the ETA creating a digital walls.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, that would be the case if, say, an Albanian person had, say, like dual nationality and say they've got a German passport or an Italian passport as well, and they've tried to come into the UK without the ETA, they won't be able to come. So they'll be able to come to visit family in the UK who are already here. But unless they apply for the ETA, it's going to be a bit of a problem. They won't be able to come. So certainly it's something, which needs to be checked before you come, checked and applied for before you come. Otherwise, you'll be denied entry.
Home Office guidance says citizenship is normally refused for life to anyone who entered illegally, no matter how long they have lived here. How many Albanian cases have you seen refused like this?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, there's no reliable statistic to show that, because what happens is that the Home Office does publish information in terms of the number of people that have actually applied and the ones that have been granted, but there's no specific data on the refusals.
Yeah.
So we have data on number of applications,
Yeah.
but they don't publish data as to the number of refusals.
Okay.
So it's difficult to say, how many Albanians actually have been refused thus far. But what is clear, though, is that since this guidance was produced since February 2025, a person who entered the UK illegally will normally be refused citizenship from that date. So it's the 10th of February 2025. On that day or after that date is when those people who want to apply for citizenship will not get it by virtue of the fact that they came in by an illegal method. So yeah, I mean there is no statutory appeal, but what you can do is that you can ask for what we call a reconsideration of that decision, and there's a specific form that needs to be filled out. It's a form NR. The other way is to actually apply for judicial review. Judicial review is to see whether the correct procedures were used to, in fact, refuse someone citizenship. So it is, in fact, yes, it is, in fact, has become very difficult for people to get citizenship if you entered by illegal means.
Can they appeal?
There is no set appeal procedure, but there is something which is like a review. You can ask them to review the decision or reconsider the decision, or there is the other process. It's called judicial review. Judicial review, which means that basically the court will look at whether there was something that was not done correctly in the process, and therefore it will then pass that decision back to the Home Office to reconsider it. So in terms of a normal appeal, no, there's no normal appeal, but there is actually what we call it's like a review. That's like a review internally, rather than going to a different judge. It's a review internally, and then that's called reconsideration, and then there's judicial review, which then actually you can go to a court, but it's to review the process, whether it was done correctly or not. There have been applications that have been under review, but it's too early to suggest how successful they are.
What are the biggest changes in the 2026 immigration laws?
Well, as you probably may have heard of, from the 7th of April 2026, the 10-year long residence route has not been abolished, but what's happened is that the new default year settlement period for most migrants is actually not yet in force. That is actually part of the government's what's called settlement proposals. So it's all still under review. But the Home Office, their own consultation says that the default qualifying period will move from 5 years to 10 years. There will no longer be like a separate long residence route, but that is the proposed future model. Meanwhile, the current system, which is actually detailed in the appendix, long residence, is still actually applicable. So someone can still settle after 10 years of lawful continuous residence. So what I'm saying is that the government hasn't yet put that like deadline in. It's still possible to settle after 10 years of lawful continuous residence.
Let's talk a bit about immigration voluntary return scheme, which includes 700 Albanian families. What this actually means? What is behind of this?
The government has put forward this voluntary return. It's like a pilot scheme, which means that it's just being tried out. And basically, what it means is that £10,000 will be offered per person, and it's a maximum of 4. What happens is that if that will be offered to a family of 4, and then it's up to the family if they want to take it up or not. But the thing is, if they do take it up, then it virtually means that they won't be able to apply to come back again. So essentially, it's a way of making sure that people, if they take up this offer of £40,000, then they're not going to be able to come back again.
So what do you suggest in that case? For many families, they have been refused from Home Office to stay here illegally.
That's right. Yes. Well, I think the reason why the government is wanting to do this is because in the long run, it's probably cheaper for them to offer £40,000 than to actually, continue to process an asylum application, and then thereafter, do all the things that are necessary to complete it, because it can be quite costly for the government to assess asylum applications and other types of applications. It can be quite costly for them. So it's like what we call like a business decision. That we're going to just come out and just sort of conclude it, so finish it basically. They're giving that short period of time to put pressure on people to accept. It's like a tactic to make people accept it quickly, really. And because if they don't, then obviously they'll want to carry on somehow trying to stay here and trying to find a way to be granted status.
Yeah, they don't want to be part of this voluntary scheme, I think, as I understood from them.
Right. Yes, because I mean, although it's £10,000 per person, I mean, that's not really going to take a person, probably, not going to solve their issues. So they'd rather take a gamble and try and go for the longer process and get status here.
Okay. Can you walk us through the main steps for a standard UK work visa or residency extension from the certificate of sponsorship to biometrics?
Well, I mean, yes, for standard skilled workers, there must be a sponsor license. I mean, you can't apply, to be a skilled worker here unless there is a sponsor license. So there has to be like a certificate of sponsorship, and the applicant then the applicant will apply online, prove their identity through the UK Immigration ID Check app, or by attending a visa application centre for fingerprints and a photo. They need to upload the supporting documents, and then they have to wait for a decision. Normally, the government will basically give that decision within 3 months. Overseas applicants usually can get a decision in about 3 weeks, as long as the identity and other documents are provided. And those applicants who are within the country, within the UK, it can take up to about 8 weeks.
What common mistakes do Albanian applicants make, like missing financial proof that lead to instant refusals?
That's right. Yes. Well, you've got to basically have all your supporting documents, and one of the most important is yes, financial clarification,
Yeah.
and obviously if it's for the worker visa, there has to be a sponsor within the UK, and for that reason, a lot of applicants may use older information, like that's more than 3 months old. And therefore that would make it, say the salary might be, like a payslip may be like more than 3 months old. So therefore it doesn't comply with the requirement for, it should be within the last 3 months, the most recent first, and then to pass 3 months. Another one would be failing to provide a criminal record certificate. If the job needs one, that should be there, and if it's not, then can be another reason for refusal. Or there may be like a missing like translation. A document may not be translated fully, and also perhaps not completing the identity or biometric step, which can make the application invalid straight away. So these are sort of things that really, are common mistakes. I mean, that's why it's so important to try and, get help and assistance. Speak to a lawyer before you start the process.
Yeah. Thank you very much. If an Albanian citizen holds an Italian, Greek, or other EU passport, can they skip the sponsorship requirement and apply directly for a UK skilled worker visa?
No, I'm afraid the requirement for a work visa is always, whether you have an EU passport or an Albanian passport, you must always still have a work sponsor. The only advantage of having the EU passport would be that you wouldn't have to formally apply for a visa. You just get the ETA. That's the only advantage, really, that you can come for short visits using the ETA procedure without a visa, really.
Can I ask something? I don't know if you are responsible to give this information, but anyway, I'm curious to know how much they can pay to get a skilled worker visa.
Yeah, I think it tends to get to about, I would say, probably over £3,000 you'd have to pay the lawyer, like over £3,000, and that includes money that has to be paid to the Home Office and the legal fees. So on average, you're talking about like over £3,000 basically, at least.
Okay. Not too much.
Yeah, not too much.